Hello, thanks for joining me. We're once again looking at the back of the Element Trailrunner here. If you followed my last video where I added the plates, I mentioned wanting to add a bumper to this because I don't like this body being down here, just hanging down, catching on everything. From past experiences, I've had bodies just crack right up through here. Get good and caught and you throttle through and just... So I don't want that to happen again. So I need to add a bumper. The problem is the rump of this vehicle is so wide. It's hard to find a bumper for it. And then finding one that will look good because the bumper mount is clear up about here. So that means we'll have to trim down the bumper. So what can we use? I found these online. It's the Vanquish products. It's their Origin 2 bumper set. It has a retail price of $13.99. I think I paid $11 for it. But either way, according to the website, to the seller on Amazon, this rear bumper right here is the same width as this body. So if it is, I think that'll work out. I may have to trim part of the bumper off, but I think it'll look good. So let's find out if this bumper is the same width. Well, I have it out of the package. It looks like it's close, but it's going to be just a little narrow probably. Let's pop this body off and go ahead and put it into the bumper mounts and see if we can get a better look at it. First order of business, does it fit? Well, they look to be about the same size. It's going in, but boy, it's snug. But that's okay. Yeah, I think it'll work fine. Okay, let's put the body back on and see how well it lines up with the width of the body. Okay, here we can see that the bumper is a little narrower, especially once you get up here where it starts to bulge out. But it fits pretty good with this part right here. But like I said, the problem is the body's setting on it now, and it needs to be up about here. So that means we're going to have to trim the body down to make it fit. Let me go ahead and shove this bumper all the way in and drop the body down over it, flip it over, and look up underneath. And here's a view from the bottom. Gives you a little better view of how things fit up in there. As you can tell, the bumper sits up really high on the body, like I said, up about above this step here. And also you can see here on the sides how much of a gap we have. It's not much, about maybe quarter, half inch on each side. But first things first, I need to cut off this bottom part of the bumper. I'm probably not going to cut off enough at one time. It's better to just keep making little sections cut up than to go too far. So first things first, I'm going to mark my line, and let me show you how I'm going to do that. I'm going to use this line right here as my guideline. So I'm going to draw it on with Sharpie because A, it gives me something I can see really well, and B, it rubs off really easy with a little bit of rubbing alcohol. So I'm going to make my line. And I'll probably end up trimming my edges up of the body up at just a little bit of an angle. So I'm going to go ahead and come to the edge here. And then I'm going to run around straight. Even with the bumper, once I get to it, I'm just going to kick it straight down. Like I said, come around straight like this. And then once I get past the edge of the bumper, I'm just going to go down like this. That way I'll leave all that material there and I'll trim it accordingly once I get the whole thing trimmed out. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get a pair of Lexington scissors and cut this off. Okay, here we have the bumper mounted up. As you can see, I just had to trim up to right at the bottom of the door line. So this fits pretty good, looks pretty good from the back. Now the sides. What do we do here with the sides? The bumper comes around to right here. So I think, originally I was thinking about just cutting it straight off, but I think instead we're going to go at an angle here. And if we need to, we can cut it straight off later. So I'm going to go ahead and mark me a line right here. So we're going to come across like this and through the fender flare. Now the fender flare you can cut with a razor blade, but I'm going to use a Dremel with a cutoff wheel to cut through it. That would give a nice cleaner cut. Okay, let's go ahead and cut that off and see how it looks. Now I'm going to take my Dremel and cut through the flare right here. So I'm doing it down here because I think it'll look good here, but I may end up needing to go higher. I'd rather start short and then have to cut away more later if need be. Okay, let's get that cut. And now I'll take my Lexington scissors and cut along the line here. Yes, I could use the Dremel on this, but I don't like the way Dremels can kind of give plastic that rough, fuzzy edge, for lack of a better term. There we go. Now let's see what that fits like. And there we go. As you can see, I'm getting close. This right here comes down a little bit on the bumper. So I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this a little more even and put a little bit of curve right here and then continue on down to here. Just like it is. I might actually trim off just a little bit more of the fender flare right through here, I think. Let me trim that up and see how that looks. Okay, there we go. I think that looks pretty good. As you can see, I got trimmed back through here and I trimmed off a little more of this and also rounded the edge right here. That way, if it goes for, full compression like that during articulation, the tire's not going to catch the sharp edge of the fender flare. The next mount for the fender flare is right here, so it's not that much of a distance. So, should be fine. Like I said, it looks okay there, I think. We need to round this corner right here just a little bit more, and then this side will be done. So I'm going to round this corner, and then we'll go ahead and make the other side match this one. And now, we have a rear bumper installed. I think it looks pretty good on there. I would like it to have been a little wider, but this will work. I was thinking about heating up the wheel flares here and pushing them in to make the body curve in even with the bumper, but in the end I decided not to because I was pretty happy with how this looked. Let me get you another angle on this. I could bring it in a notch so it's flush with the body, but I like it right here like this where it sticks out just a little bit. I think it adds a good look to the vehicle. And now it has some protection in the rear. There is one thing though we need to address, and that is the muffler. Here's where it should go stock, and I love the muffler, but as you can tell, I can fit my whole finger between the bumper and it. That is hanging down way too low. So how do I plan to address that? Let me show you. This is the stock location for it, so what we're going to do, we're going to move this. Where are we going to move it to? Well, instead of mounting to the bottom of the bumper bracket here, we're going to move it to the top. The problem with moving it to the top is it won't go in far enough to latch in to be able to actually bolt it in. See what I mean? But if you also notice, I drew a line here down the side of the muffler. I'm going to trim that whole side off until it'll go back here and mount up here. This front bolt, I'll have to cut it off too. We will not be using it anymore. The one bolt and then the side of the chassis should hold it in place. If not, we're going to bolt through with a nut on it and then it will stay in place. Okay, let me trim that down and we'll see how it fits. And there's the muffler mounted up. I did go ahead and paint it silver because, well, I know they come in black sometimes, but I like the look of the silver better. Let's turn it up here. You can see where I notched for these screws and notched for the chassis there. You won't never really see that mounted up. I also cut that big fat end, that tip that was on it off, and drilled the end out a little bit. Gives it a little bit better look too. From the bottom, I kept the MagnaFlow logo on it, but that's what it looks like from the bottom. And yes, that's back against the bumper and against the frame, so shouldn't go nowhere. It's nicely tucked up, so it won't catch on everything. Even the factory one where it hung down would catch on stuff. Let's throw the body on and see what it looks like there. Oh, before I do throw the body on, I want to show you something. There's a hitch receiver in the back of this bumper, and it came with a little hitch here that slides in. And it also came with one like this. It did not come with hardware to attach the D-ring to it or to hold it in place here, but that's no big deal. I'm sure you probably have one in your parts box. Let's go ahead and throw that body on and then take a look at it. And there's the finished product. We now have a bumper on the back of our Element Trailrunner, and it fits pretty good. Sticks out just a little bit past the body. Like I said, it's where I have it adjusted to. I think it looks better there. You can see the muffler tucked up in under the body there. You can see it from the side here, peeking out right there. So was it worth it? Oh yeah, I think so. Like I said, I paid $13 for the bumper, mounted up on the rear. Now we have something to protect the body. And the upside is we moved all this up so we don't have the overhang back here. So our departure angle is a lot better. And whenever we do drag on rocks or whatever, it's not catching the body and breaking it. I hope you enjoyed this install of this bumper. I hope maybe it gave you some ideas to add a bumper to your Trailrunner. This is a great body, but the lack of bumper options really makes it daunting to add one to it. Well, if you like this video, make sure you like it and subscribe so you don't miss any future updates. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook as well. The links are down below. And until next time, happy RCing.